Om Namo Narayana. Welcome back. Today we are continuing with the Rama Rahasya Upanishad in the third video. So we're just picking up with a line, and it's pretty random where I'm stopping and starting because it's sort of one long thing. And I will say, if this is confusing, like I've said in other Upanishads, get a hold of a copy and read along with me. It sometimes, I think, may not be so clear as I'm reading. Some of these things need better translations. Hint, hint to anyone who needs a huge project. Alright. Dhyanam. I worship that Rama, who has 3 eyes, who wears the crescent, who holds the trident, who is anointed all over by ash, and who is with matted hair. I worship the 3-eyed one, who is Abhirama, the pinnacle of beauty, who wears the crescent as an earring, and who holds the noose, the goad, and the bow, and the arrow. Thus, meditating on this, devoted wholly to recitation and oblations, one should chant mantras 100,000 times, offering bilva leaves, fruits, flowers, gingili seeds, and lotuses. Rama, Brahma, Gayatri. Even the treasures and powers wished for by the celestials come by themselves when the 8-lettered Raghava, Brahma, Gayatri is chanted. The rishis, knowing Sri Bija as my Shakti, chant the mantras with the limbs as Viniyoga for its adoration. Dhyanam. I worship that blue-complexioned Rama, who wears the bracelet on upper arm and bangle, which are studded with shining gems, who has the royal umbrella held over his head, who shines like millions of waxing moons, who sits in the hall of 1,016 golden pillars, and who is surrounded by Bharata and others. Thus the Rama Sharana mantra. The chanting of this Rama, which means Rama is my refuge, achieves much more than many other mantras which lead with difficulty to mere ephemeral gains and productive of the misery of samsara due to the greed for the transient fruits. This mantra gives the fruits of all of them without the taint of greed and other defects. There is also an 8-lettered mantra which is well known in 7-fold ways. It is Om added to the 7-lettered mantra. Other mantras with more letters include the 8-syllable mantra, which is chanted in 7-fold ways. Om is added at the beginning and end of the 7-lettered mantra. There is the 9-lettered mantra, which is a 9-lettered mantra offered like the 6-lettered one to Sita in the beginning and to the consort of Janaki at the end. There is the 10-lettered mantra, which gives all that is desirable, wished for fruits. The great Vashista is the rishi of this 10-lettered mantra, and the meter is Virat, the deity is Rama holding Sita's hand. The beginning bija, Visarga, is the Shakti, with Anga Nyasa for the wishes. The 10-lettered mantra is offered mentally to the head, forehead, middle of the eyebrows, palate, ears, heart, navel, thighs, knees, and feet. Dhyanam. I think of that Rama, who is in the city of Ajota, who is decorated by various gems, who sits under a golden canopy, whose doorways are decorated by mandara flowers, who is seated on a throne surrounded by celestial vehicles, who is praised by sages with reverence, who is adorned on the left by Sita, who is being served by Lakshmana, who is blue in complexion, who has a tranquil face, and who is adorned by the ornaments. This mantra should be recited 100,000 times with exclusive devotion. The form of Rama holding the bow in his hands and Sita within. Brahma is the rishi of the 10-lettered mantra, the meter is Virat, the deity is Rama, the slayer of demons. Rest of the worship is similar to the previous one. One should remember Rama holding the bow and the arrow. There is an 11-lettered mantra, with the 6-fold addition of Om Maya Rama Kama Vaksva Bijas, and recite the 10-lettered mantra for Rudra. The remainder of the ritual is the same as the six-lettered mantra as regards Nyasa and Dhyana according to the wise. Of the 12-lettered mantra, Sri Rama is the Rishi, the meter is Jagati, and Sri Rama the deity. The pranava is said to be the bija. Klim is Shakti, and Hrim is Kilaka. Reciting the mantras with the Anganyasa, the rest is performed as previously. Also to be added are Om, Klim, and also Bharata Graja. There is a 12-metered mantra. This mantra ends with Rama, Klim, and Svaha. Om Hrid Bhagavate Rama Kshandra Bhadraya. As before, the Rishi and Dhyana, Jagati meter, and the mantras with Agnanyasa. Reciting the name Sri Rama and Jaya Rama thereafter, the wise one says Jaya Jaya twice. Rama who sheds joy on the mind. There is a 13-lettered mantra, and this mantra has the same Rishi and other adjuncts as before, the fulfiller of all wishes, repeating the phrase twice with the Agnas and Dhyana as before. There is a 14-letter mantra. When Om is added, the mantra becomes 14 letters. After chanting the 13-lettered, one adds the name Rama. There is a 15-lettered mantra. This is the 15-lettered wish-fulfilling tree. Add Namah to Sita Pataya Ramaya Hana Hana. There is a 16-lettered mantra. Thereafter, the 16-lettered ends with the Kavacha and Astra. Of this, Agastya is the Rishi, Prihati is the meter, and Rama is the deity. Ram is the bija, Astra is Shakti, and Hum is the Kilaka. The 10 to 15-lettered mantras are offered in sequence with the Agnanyasas. There is a 17-lettered mantra. Adding Om, the mantra is 17-lettered. Om Namo Bhagavata Ram at the end thereafter. An 18-lettered mantra is achieved by adding Purushaya at the end, which gives the 18-lettered mantra, with Vishvamitra as the Rishi and Gayatri meter and deity as Rama. There is a 19-lettered mantra. With Kama Bija, the mantra is 19-lettered. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramaya is to be recited. There is a 20-lettered mantra. After uttering all the mantras, one asks for auspiciousness. When Svaha is added to the mantra, it becomes 20-lettered. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramaya is to be recited. Then Svaha for protection from dangers. There is a 21-lettered mantra. This mantra fulfills all of one's wishes. Om Rama Sva Bija Dasharanthaya thereafter. There is a 22-lettered mantra. Then one chants the all-auspicious Sita Valabhyaha. Then this is a 22-lettered mantra. There is a 23-lettered mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Viraramaya is chanted. Then softly Hana Hana Svaha is recited. The 23-lettered mantra is the slayer of all enemies. Vishvamitra is the Rishi and Gayatri is the meter. The deity is Virarama. Bijas and other adjuncts are as before. The wise one, after doing the Agnanyasa of the Mula mantra in parts, silently meditates on Rama, who has put the arrow on the bow and is facing Ravana, and is holding the thunderbolt in his hand and has ascended the chariot. One recites Om Namo Bhagavate Shiramaya after having said Om Brahmane, adding the words Mam and Taraya. They mean protect me. There is a 24-lettered mantra. With Nama Om added, the mantra becomes 24-lettered. The bijas and other adjuncts are as before. Klim, Om, and Nama, and Bhagavate Ramachandraya thereafter, one says the word all. There is a 25-lettered mantra. Jana Vashya Karaya, Savaha, and Klim are to be recited mentally. The 25-lettered mantra is to include Sarvavashayakara, which means conquering all. 26 and 27-lettered mantras are with Om added at the beginning, and thus the mantra has 26 letters. Adding Om at the end then makes it 27. Om Namo Bhagavate Rakshoganavishodaya, that being obedience to Bhagavan, the slayer of demons. Sarvavigat Nirvaraya, protect me from all obstacles, to be repeated twice. The 28 and 29 lettered mantras have Svaha at the end, making them 28 lettered, and when joined with Om, they become 29 lettered. 30 and 31 lettered mantras begin with Sva Bija, which is the 30 lettered, and with Om at the end, it now has 31 letters. Om Rama Bhadra, the great archer, Om Raghuvira, the best of kings and slayer of Ravana, grant me wealth. So we are actually going to pause there, and this section will finish in the next video. So what we have here is the building of Rama. Sorry, not the building of Rama, but the building of mantras to Rama, and adding little words and new things and building them up. And one of the things I think gets confusing is it talks about like the meter. The meter is this or the meter is that. And that is information that we don't seem to have anymore, which is very interesting because at one point in time, I think somebody reading this might have been very familiar with, oh, the meter is Gayatri. I know exactly what that is. But today we don't. And we often talk about how we want to get back to the roots. We want to have an authentic Vedic religion, not Neo-Vedanta, not Neo-Hinduism. We want Sanatana Dharma. But yet, we don't know the meter of things, which would require us to actually get back to Vedic religion. To be authentic, we would need to know this. We would also have to be familiar with the Ramayana, and how many out there have read all 7 volumes? Raise your hand. Also, we probably have to read the Rig Veda. How many of you have read that? But yet I think most of us are fairly ignorant on things that a rishi, 2,000 years ago, would have been knowledgeable of. So it's this really interesting thing. We have the drive, but I don't think we necessarily have the knowledge to be authentic. We're still stuck in the present and a lack of knowledge. With that, one more point. We always talk about Rama, Krishna, Shiva, but how often do we worship Varuna? We don't. But yet, we should if we're wanting to get back to the source. If we go back to the Vedas, Varuna, Agni, Rudra, many other gods are mentioned far more than Krishna, yet we don't talk about them. We haven't found those gods yet, and we haven't found the information yet. So when we say we want to get Vedic, I don't think it's quite happening. I don't think we're quite there.